Russell,
Pearl,
welcome to the show. How are you?
good, fantastic. Thank you for having me again.
So, what is your condolences? If you guys don't remember,
Yeah,
he's a private investigator, coolest job ever. And, I'm sure you've seen the women, I'm sure you've seen in your
yeah,
day women crying a lot over
yeah.
elections and whatnot. So, what is your condolences to them?
Well, here's what I would say to women who say they're going on a sex strike. You and I both know liberal women are not going to stop giving up the cheeks. That's not going to stop. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. If anybody gives up the cheeks with frequency, it's liberal women. All right, so that's a non-starter. That might last for 24 hours, but that's about it. The next thing I would say is this: this is a cautionary tale to Black people in particular, right? This might be a little bit controversial, but I know you're not scared of controversy. I won't curse or anything bad like that. But Black people for the last 70 years have been using their vote the wrong way. Every other minority ethnic group uses their vote like what? Like currency, right? So you go to the store with your currency in hand and you pay for what you want and you walk out with what you want. Every other group does that. For some reason, Black people for the last 70 years have been walking into the store and it's one party store they've been walking into primarily. They empty their bank accounts, they empty their wallets every 4 years, every 2 years, however, whatever election cycle we're talking about, and they walk out empty handed. And then they can complain that the side that the store they didn't go to didn't give them what they wanted. This is a cautionary tale. Look, black men, Black women need to wake up and understand that the strategy we've been using is the wrong strategy. Your currency is for sale. It is a commodity. Everybody else uses it like a commodity. We've been giving it away. Stop giving it away. As far as people who are lamenting the fact on the far left, look, at the end of the day, I know some liberals. We all know liberals. Some of them are actually happy that Kamala Harris did not win. Can you imagine this woman running the country? All I would caution anyone to do is look up her record of when she was the Attorney General of the state of California. Here's what she would do: she would jail people for minor offenses and then keep you in county jail for longer than your term to use you as slave labor. Don't get angry at me. Look it up and check. And so at the end of the day, I've got I've got friends on both sides, liberals and the conservative side, and a lot of the liberals, they might complain, but I think ultimately most of them realize we are better off in the direction we're going in right now. Going in the other direction would have been it would have been a catastrophe. And I think most people understand that. No disrespect to Kamala Harris. I think everybody has a level, and she went way above what her real level really should ever have been. She probably should have stayed at the state level. She messed that up, and she got the tap on the shoulder to join Joe Biden. The first chance she got, she threw him under the bus and walked away from him. And so look, there are no friends in this whole game. And I would just caution people. If one topic can cause you to vote for someone, say for instance they're going to save the green grasshoppers, but they're going to destroy the earth while they're doing it, then you need to understand and you need to rethink your priorities are out of whack. And I would like to see leadership, Black leadership, rise up that starts to lead Black people down a better path, because leaders we've had recently, or some of the legacy leadership like the Sharptons, the Jacksons, they're nothing but pimps. They're nothing but pimps, and they enrich themselves and their friends and their cronies. And most Black neighborhoods are circling the drain. So we're going in a good direction. Some people may not like to hear this because, being a Black man, I'm supposed to only vote a certain way. And, I guess, whatever. I must have jumped off the plantation and cut my chains and run off years ago. And I would invite everybody else to do the same thing. Think for yourself. Don't let people decide what you're supposed to be. And I know you've been having fun with this for the last few days, Pearl, with the posts I've been watching you on X, and people really are upset. Like I've had, like after the last time you interviewed me, I had a couple of women I know, they're liberal, and they started texting me, "Oh, we didn't know you hated women," and this. I was like, "Oh my god, what is like? Well, what have I said that was hateful? I have no idea." And
I don't
one of
hate
them that
women.
texted
I
me,
just want them to learn to use birth control. That's it. That's it. Like I just want learn to use it. It's a pill once
look,
a
yeah,
day.
look, and I would look, if we've seen videos of women celebrating the fact that they've been using that deletion button.
Yeah.
We'll call it. I don't want you to get in any trouble with YouTube algorithm things. But look at it this way. I'm glad my mother didn't delete me. I'm glad I'm here. Otherwise I wouldn't be sitting in front of you right now with that giant smile on your face, happy, with that infamous red cap on right now. And so, when we think about it this way, you got to look at it like this, man. You could be deleting the next world leader. You could be deleting the next Martin Luther King Jr., the next Gandhi, the next Abraham Lincoln. You could be deleting the next whoever. The next president of the United States, one of the next presidents of the United States of America. You could be deleting someone who might cure cancer at some point. There are so many things you can do besides that. I mean, obviously it's a choice you have to make, but look, people have to do what they have to do. But I'm glad we're going in the direction we're going. When he was in office before, I was making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
Literally, I was making hand over fist. I was talking to one of my neighbors the other day. They're like, I spent $100 at the supermarket, and I walked away with 3 bags of groceries. And I was like, gosh, I was like this. I said that's how it is. And so look, I appreciate what you've had to go through. I know you've had to go through a lot of different things, and you hang in there and keep fighting. And I would tell people this. This is something I told my son years ago when he won in 2016. You look at the amount of pressure he's been under for the last 10 years
Mhm.
has been unprecedented. The hatred, unprecedented. The scrutiny, the constant attacks from every angle they could imagine, up into and including trying to delete him on more than one occasion. And this dude just hangs in there. If anything, he is the epitome of American strength and intestinal fortitude. And I consider myself a tough guy. I've had to deal with a bunch of different attacks. Nothing on the scale of what he's had to deal with, and he just seems to get stronger.
Yeah.
And then if you look at it from an objective perspective, people talk, oh, he's a racist. I don't see the racism. Black people benefited from Donald J. Trump being president from 2016 to 2020. More than they did from the first quote unquote black president, although he was really beige. I don't really claim him. He's beige, but whatever. I joke with my son. I call my son a bougie beige because my ex-wife was blonde haired, gray eyed, Russian, German, Irish descent. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so he did nothing for black people. Absolutely nothing. He did nothing. And so this guy who's supposed to be a racist was the best president for black people. Look what he did for historical black colleges. He set up a trust for historical black colleges. Instead of having to go hat in hand to the White House and begging every year for funding, he set it up so that they didn't have to look for funding for the next, I think it was like 6 or 7 years or something like that. That's Donald J. Trump,
Mm.
the so-called racist. I don't buy it. I never bought it. Look how many people were friends of his before he ran under the Republican ticket. And again, I would tell black people, I'm not telling you who to vote for, one way or the other, but be smarter about how you use your vote and reward the people that give you what you want and punish the people who do not do what you say. Politicians work for us. We can
Mm.
fire them. Right. So guess what? We'll give you a mandate. All right, we'll vote for you. We'll put you in office. But God help you if you don't do exactly what we want you to do and punish people. There's no punishment for breaking promises to black people with the vote. And politicians know this. We know what side of politics because they've been voting. We've been voting that way for 90% for the last 70 years. And so those people don't care about you because they don't have to.
So what is your advice?
So
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
no, go ahead, please.
I want to know what your like if you have any advice for them to get over the trauma of today. It's been there's a lot of crying, it's been really tough. Like
Well, look,
you got any
there's
advice?
there are all types of pain, right? And you can use that pain and learn. Now you can repeat the mistakes of the past with that pain and do the same thing over and over again. Support people that really actually hate you. People who vote for these politicians, the really leaning politicians, they hate you. They hate you. So I mean, look at it this way. And this is why I had a talk with a bunch of other black men. I was like, okay, look, black man, there's your replacement coming across the border, black man and black woman. All right. They're putting them up in houses better than your places, black man and black woman. They're giving them your money, black man and black woman. That's your replacement. They don't care about you. They don't care. They're putting them in your neighborhoods. They're
Mm.
displacing you in your neighborhoods, the people you've been voting for loyally for the last 70 years. It should hurt. Stupid should hurt. Being dumb and doing the same thing over and over again foolishly and expecting a different outcome should be painful. Stop blaming the side you're not voting for because you didn't vote for them, so you didn't hire them. Start complaining to your and firing your employees, the left-leaning Democrats that have done nothing but try to destroy black people and other minorities for decades. They've been trying to destroy us, and we've been helping them destroy us. So feel that pain, understand, and you have to be somewhat introspective. I don't know if they can. Some of them, I got to be honest with you, I'm not really impressed with their thought process. You'll find some really intelligent people that will just suspend and turn off their intellect, and all you have to say is, "Oh, this guy's evil. We should hate him," and they just hate him with no evidence to support any of the assertions. And so if you're introspective, and we've all had to do this, I've had to do this. I've had to look inside and say, okay, you know what? Why am I in the position I'm in? Right now, I'm in a position that really is disadvantageous. It sucks right now. I've got to understand where I went wrong and what I did to screw it up and how I can be part of my own solution and fix it going forward. The way you fix it going forward in this particular instance, when it comes to everybody, but in particular black people, is understand how to use your vote better, get better leadership, and get those leaders to hold these politicians' feet to the fire. And if they step out of line, smack them back in place, or make them turn them into a cautionary tale. Fire them. That way, the next guy that comes along, he's going to say, "Oh man, I better do what the hell they say, because if I don't, that other guy, he's gone, and I don't want to be where he is." So yeah, it's going to hurt, and it should hurt. Being dumb and being unwise and not learning, we all do it, right? Like,
Mhm.
okay, you're a kid, you put your hand on fire, right, somewhere, right, or the stove or
Yeah.
whatever, you burn your hand, you stop doing it. Well, no,
Right.
not these guys. They double down and they put their hand in again and they turn up the furnace more and more and more. It doesn't make sense. And so I would characterize the really far left liberal, like, wackos, the crazy, as a downward spiraling death cult because the things that they're doing, like, it doesn't build anything. Marxism doesn't build, it only destroys. That's all it does. And so be smarter going into the future. And I just look, like everybody else, I was a little bit, had a little bit of trepidation because you never know how things are going to go. I voted the way I voted, and I'm happy for the outcome. And I hope we can all get to a point where we stop being so hateful about differences, because people just will hate you. Like, I don't hate anybody who does things differently than me, but from the other side, there seems to be so much vitriol and anger and this hyper emotionalism that just takes over them, and it just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I apologize for my. I bet you didn't know I was a political science major, and which is absolutely useless when it comes to being a private investigator and a bail bondsman.
Well, how do you think the people on the Epstein list and that were going to Diddy's parties, how do you think they're feeling
Yeah.
today?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't have any experience with Diddy parties. I do have experience with Hollywood parties. And because, I lived in Hollywood, I lived in LA for a while, and I would get hired by certain individuals to accompany their daughters or their other loved ones on some of these parties to make sure they were safe from harm because things would happen. You have to understand the dynamics of leverage. So the way leverage works is this: leverage works best if I don't have to use it on you.
Mm.
So if I got leverage on you, you'll know I have leverage on you. And you'll know, because you're an intelligent person, you'll know how much that leverage is worth. And as long as I don't go outside the boundaries of the value of that leverage, you'll be happy to comply. I think some of the people we saw endorsing Kamala Harris at the end, with that deer in the headlights and that please help me look on their face, probably some of them have things on them that they don't want known. I can imagine that list is a huge list because a lot of people went to those parties. Not everybody that went to the parties engaged in weirdness, but enough of them did so that he was able to, blackmail people for a very long time. And I think they're probably a little bit worried, but the people on the Epstein list haven't come out yet.
Yeah.
So who knows? It all depends on the process and how far the corruption will go. But there's a lot of people on there that right now they're sweating. They're sweating bullets. They're sweating even more because they probably realize that if Kamala Harris got elected, there would be a price tag attached to. Look, you don't want your name to come out. This is what I want. Okay, here you go. I'll write that check right away.
Yeah.
The problem with Trump, and I'm not saying he's a problem, but the problem for these other people is that you really can't give him anything that he can't get on his own already. So he's super wealthy, obviously. He's a billionaire, but also too, from what we've seen, he's a man of integrity. And that is rare in politics, extremely rare in politics. There are good politicians, but even the really good ones, they have to compromise their values to a certain extent. You have to understand when you're going through politics and you're rising through the ranks, you have to have sponsors. You have to have people that are going to pay your way and contribute to your financial your campaign finance committees and funds and help you with this and that and whatever else it is. Well, guess what? At some point, when you get into power, they're going to be like, "Hey, you know what? Remember that check for $500,000 I gave you for your campaign fund, finance committee that you won? Well, guess what? It's time to pay back." And the further that they go up, politicians aren't allowed to move up the ladder without people having dirt on them. That dirt gives them control over you. So if I know that you have a penchant for, grinding up toenails and snorting them or something like that, some weird stuff, and I
Ew.
got you on the video snorting toenail dust or whatever, right? Without saying anything that's going to get you in trouble
Yeah.
with the
Okay. Okay.
YouTube
Oh, yeah.
algorithm,
Okay. Okay.
and so and everybody finds that reprehensible. Well, guess what? When you get to the White House, well, guess what? I'm going to come knocking, and I don't have to say, "Hey, I got this on you." I've got it already.
Yeah.
And so all I've got to do is say, "Hey," and I'll make it worth your while. I'll say, "Hey, I'm going to do this business venture, and it's going to make me $1 billion, and I'm going to make you a small partner. You're going to get 5% of it. So I
Mm,
make $1 billion, you'll make say $50 million,
mm.
and guess what? It's a win-win for everybody, right? And so that's how that game is played. And if you don't play by the rules. Like you ever see politicians do things that are really, really outlandish? You're like, what the hell are they doing? Typically, it's because someone has something on them so damaging that they cannot escape it. And so the game of leverage is a it's a very delicate balance. And the further you go up the food chain, they're not good. You're not going to be allowed to go up the food chain unless people can control you. They want people that they can control. All right. The reason they hate Donald Trump so much is he is a wild card. He's his own man.
Mm.
Now that doesn't mean he doesn't have political favors. Like I'm sure Mr. Ramaswamy and other people they're going to get cabinet positions because they put in so much work for him.
Mhm.
That's different. People don't have dirt on him. Like Robert Mueller is an incredible investigator. Whatever his political leanings are, he is an incredible investigator. They gave him a blank checkbook, and he had like 50 FBI agents working for more than a year, and they couldn't find any dirt on the guy. And so he's they can't really control. They can't control him at all. And so that's again we go back to leverage. The people on the Diddy list, the politics. There were politicians. There are politicians that are on that list. It's not just you know executives and people in so many different. And he was recording and videotaping everything. And I have experience working with clients from an executive protection side where we've found hidden cameras, hidden recording devices. But we would hire technicians, very specialized technicians with very expensive and
Mhm.
specialized equipment that will come in and literally sweep. And I know there's a lot of guys that say they can do it. They'll get some cheapo RF detector off of Amazon. That's not going to cut it. But I've heard of instances, and I know guys that have found later on, people have been videotaped without their knowledge.
Oh,
And so now imagine now you go to a party at Diddy's house, you wind up on some videotape somewhere doing something unthinkable or having something unthinkable done to you because
yeah.
apparently people were being, you know, relieved of their senses with certain substances.
Mhm.
again, without mentioning things that'll get you,
Yeah.
hurt you on YouTube. But and then next thing you know, there's you got a macho image. Like look at some of these rappers. They got this macho gangster rap image, and you're on video being, whatever, right?
Right.
And so, is that a compromise? Is that something that's going to give me leverage over you when it comes to negotiating your record deal? Yes, it is. If you're a politician, are you going to give me favorable treatment? Say, if someone wants to try to make a complaint against me, are you going to reach out to the district attorney and have them drop the charges, or the chief of police and have them drop the charges? Yeah, I'm sure that's happened.
Right.
Why? Again, I lived in Hollywood. That happens in Hollywood a bunch, and so there are people that get paid just to keep people out of trouble. I keep people out of trouble too. I don't break the law to do it. But when it comes to the game of politics, there are no rules, there are no laws. Whatever you have to do to win is what people do.
Right. Well, thank you for calling in today. A pleasure as always.
Thank you for having me as usual. I apologize for rambling so much, but it's such a pleasure to talk to you. I love the work you do. Thank you so much.
And condolences to the liberals, right?
Yeah.
Condolences. See ya.
Uh,